Hey, it's only me. Welcome back. We're here at WTW Cinemas at White River in St Austell with the man himself. It's WTW Will, ladies and gentlemen. Studio applause, rapturous studio applause. Yeah. Quiet, quiet, quiet.
Actually, we ought to do it for the live audience one day.
I think we do a live recording like that.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Get them involved, a bit of audience interaction.
Yes.
Bit like question time.
Definitely. Yeah, I think we should definitely do that.
Fiona Bruce. That'd be quite good. I think there'll be some interesting opinions, I'd imagine.
Yeah, we can open it up for a few Q&A.
Open it up to the floor.
Yeah.
Fab, what are we here talking about today? Tell me where we're to, what's happening in the world of cinema, what's coming up, what's there to look forward to?
So the summer blockbuster season is, I think, officially upon us. We've had a few testers. Mario was obviously Easter time, then we've had Guardians, which has done really well. Fast and Furious has hit, and we are now basically one a week, so there's going to be a cascade. The only thing I'm a bit worried about is there's too many too soon. You can do with saving a couple for maybe later in the year, because we've got on the same week there is Spider-Man Spider-Verse, Boogeyman coming out, and then the week after you've got Transformers, then there's Greatest Days, Indiana Jones, there's Mission Impossible, there's The Flash, Mission Impossible.
There's quite a few that feel like they've sort of been on the way for a while.
Yeah.
You know, that they've had a lot of sort of traction behind them, and now that they're sort of finally getting here, it's like, oh wow, yeah, they are catching up. Like, I know obviously Little Mermaid was end of May, but that was a long time coming, and I think because they announce everything so soon now, and you're aware, with the internet, you're aware of everything going on.
You are. It's weird because sometimes you'll have stuff, you've been waiting, so it's still not out. And then other things, like Greatest Days, you didn't know about that, so I told you earlier, and it's sort of like snuck from nowhere. It's like,
again, I had absolutely no idea. And then they were saying about Boogeyman, that it's another horror film. At the beginning of the year, in the summer, you know.
It's for October, so
Something funny going on there, because it doesn't really fit the vibe of going outside into the sunshine.
And you've got Insidious out in July as well. So
yeah, The Red Door or something like that, isn't it? Yeah, that's another spooky one.
I'm not a horror fan anyway, and those ones just really don't appeal to me.
Disclaimer, I don't do horror. I don't see the point in getting myself scared for the sake of it.
No.
You see what I mean?
Boogeyman, I know it's a horror one. I'd be more tempted because it's a Stephen King one. Might be a bit more thrillery horror.
A bit of storyline there with it as well. I think I'm going to show me age where I actually think a lot of the older horror stuff is better, where they don't reveal the monster until the end. I think, you know, there used to be a lot of the old horror stuff, there was anticipation, there was a real build-up of tension, you know, when there was a grand reveal of whatever the beast or the monster or the villain was.
Scooby-Doo.
Whereas now, you see it on the poster.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You see it on the character poster and all of these sorts of things, and I think you see so much within a trailer, and for me that sort of takes it away from a horror aspect, because to me it's more the surprise.
Definitely, like Scream, that was a good one, because it had the mask and then who it's unveiled at the end. It's a bit of a shock.
Yeah, the Scream franchise, they seem to have got it right, really. The way they've done it, they've made themselves that mole, haven't they?
Yeah.
Of that genre in that sense.
Yeah.
So what's the first one that we're coming up to see then?
So we'll scoot on a little. Little Mermaid's out for half term, Spider-Man's at the end of it, so we will jump into middle of June and let's go for Transformers, The Rise of the Beasts.
Rise of Beasts. So this is sort of prequel now, isn't it? It's not a prequel in the sense of it's a prequel of the original Transformers films with Shia LaBeouf. However, it's set in, do we think 90s?
It looks like 90s. So the Bumblebee spin-off one, Haley Steinfeld, that was really good actually. Enjoyed that one. And that was late 90s, early 90s. So we're thinking that's going to be the same timeline.
I can sort of get into Transformers films. Like, I'm not saying anything to, for, or against, but they're quite a nice sit down and just watch films. Do you know what I mean? There's not overly a lot of, other than who's that big grey guy and who's that big grey guy and which team are they on? Because it did get a bit like that towards the end of the old Transformers. I found it was just large grey CGI. And it was, I almost needed some of them to wear like a blue team and a red team, so I knew who was on each team. Well, I like the look of this new one, because obviously it's got animals and beasts and jungly, and it's a bit different. Yeah,
so you've got your Transformers, which are vehicles, but these are sort of Transformers that will go into animals and stuff.
Yeah, so there was a gorilla one. I've seen the gorilla, the gorilla one, and there's like a leopard one or something like this as well. So I can see where, again, it's different. It's very different to what they've already done. So that's obviously the new tangent in which they're going with that one.
Definitely. Yes.
Do you think there's still much of a call for the Transformers flicks like that?
There's always a fan base for it. I think they've done probably too many in the Shia LaBeouf franchise, because he's done a couple, then Wahlberg took over and they've done another 3, was it, in the end? I think it was like, might be 5. And by the end of those, it was sort of getting a bit tired.
A bit fatigued with the old Transformers.
But then the Bumblebee one was really good, sort of done a fresh take, wasn't so much action and high octane stuff, went back to a bit more basics, and that was really good.
Actually sort of story based. I think that's where a lot of it is, and you see a lot of the old Transformers content. That was the old cartoon, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of that, it was real sort of
toys,
storyline driven, and I know obviously it comes from toys and marketing and the branding side of things, but people want the plot, don't they, as well? They don't just, everybody loves an action scene, loves it, but you can't sit through 2.5 hours of it.
No, you do need the plots with it, and that's why James Bond films are always popular, because it is very story based. You might have a few big action scenes, but on the whole, a lot of it is just forward. In like prowling around. So,
and this is, I think, as well, as a film goer and as somebody that's watching a film, you want to feel like you're going somewhere. You don't want to feel stagnant or that there's no development in one way or another. You want to feel like it's that journey, isn't it? It's that cliche journey that you've been on watching that film, that we started somewhere and you've ended somewhere else.
So the best Marvel ones are when they're more story based rather than just sort of like
action.
Chase scenes and
and again, people they sort of you invest in characters, don't you? And I think a lot of the time it can be quite disappointing. Not saying Marvel, but I am. When there's not a lot of character development, and you've watched these characters for upwards of 10 years now, and to see them not getting that development can sometimes be a shame. I know you've got to share the wealth, and between all the characters, but like you say, people want to see that.
Yeah, Trials and Marvels are just getting too repetitive, aren't they? I know, and when they are trying to change it, it's too much of a change. I know I'm contradicting myself there, but with the whole multiverse stuff, it's just gone a bit too much.
Well, this is what I said to you about the villains in the Marvel films. I think a lot of the time now they've gone too of a grand scale. Whereas you need to relate it to those smaller neighbourhood things. Like Spider-Man used to fight people on the streets. Now he's fighting aliens in space. And they've sort of taken it away from that.
Yeah, Ant-Man's the prime one, because his first one was like a heist one, wasn't it? It was a lovely little story of them sort of trying to steal something, and that was just it.
Yeah.
And second one a little bit more. And then the last one was this quantum realm sort of.
Yeah, I think, like you say, if you involve the word quantum, stop there.
Yeah.
Because you've already gone far too far with it as well.
It was just basically a rip-off of Star Wars. The whole film was like...
Going from Marvel, though, DC is obviously getting a bit of a rebirth this month coming with The Flash.
Yes,
I think it's all eggs in that basket, really.
It's, a bit of a gamble, because I see they're probably taking inspiration a bit from Spider-Man by bringing back old characters. Yeah. Chiefly Michael Keaton back as Batman, which I'm looking forward to.
I was going to say, as much as it's fan service, it's sometimes it's really good fan service, and I'm really happy to see it.
Yeah, especially after such a long break. It's almost 35 years, isn't it? It's 80 and 89.
Oh gosh, yeah. But then you think he was in the Spider-Man films as the Vulture as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's given him a chance to show he's still got the chops, as it were, in that sort of way. And I think bringing him into the Flash as well, it's going to bring that old into the new.
Definitely, yeah. It will really appeal to a wide range, because I think the Flash would struggle maybe by himself to draw an audience, but when you throw Batman,
I think given
and the
Ezra Miller's personal choices.
Yes, I was a bit concerned they would actually still go ahead and release the film.
Yeah, this was the one that I thought, if any, this is going to be the bit of a tricky one to do, but they've gone full steam ahead, and like I say, I think it's all eggs in one basket with this one.
Yeah.
And I think obviously with James Gunn now, with the DC,
yes, he's taking it after this, isn't he?
He's taking it over after this.
This was done before.
So it's going to be interesting to see where he sort of takes that helm with it.
Yeah, because Aquaman is due out as well later in the year, and that's still on the old line. But is Gunn going to continue with this, or do a whole brand new take on it?
With the Aquaman ones, you've obviously got the controversy of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp in that one as well. So it's almost like each of these projects have just been slightly tainted by something in the way that if you were James Gunn, would you almost want to go in and go, we're starting again.
Definitely.
We're doing this. Look, I've done it before. I know how to do it.
Yes,
Let me show you how to do it, sort of thing.
Let's start fresh. But then people will probably be fed up with a whole new restart again, wouldn't they?
It's a lot of work that goes into it, and I think especially if they push out as much content as like Marvel have been doing.
Yes, and that's the trouble with DC. They've always tried to be keeping up with Marvel, but luckily the last Batman, Robert Pattinson one, they went back to their roots, which is a bit darker and a bit grittier. And
that's their forte, isn't it?
Yes,
that's their way of doing it, and I think so long as they remember that.
Yes.
And it's nice, I must say, as an older person myself, to have more maturely themed superhero films.
Definitely, yeah.
Because they used to be. You think what Blade used to be like, and some of the X-Men films.
Proper 18, that was.
And they used to really go for it in that sense. And then I know Marvel obviously now belongs to Disney and all of these sorts of things, and it changes the model. But it's nice to get back to that more mature themes in some of these films.
Yes, yeah, you need that variation, definitely.
And I think, then it becomes very easy to sort of tar superheroes all with the same brush and say they're kids' films. I think it gives that wrong impression when every Marvel film you go to see is very jokey, quite light themes. And you sort of think, well, actually, it's not what I'm here for.
No, you do want some depth
grit,
to it. So,
a bit of grit.
So I did actually quite enjoy the Black Panther because it wasn't particularly Marvel-y, but I thought it was one of the better films because it was more dramatic and it had better acting and it was a real
So as somebody
good story
that's not
within
been on the DC train yet, do you think Flash would be the time to join watching the DC universe, the DCU as they're calling it?
Probably. Trying to think which one
I feel
you
a bit
should
almost
start with,
intimidated
really,
to start. You see what I mean?
Yeah. See, the weird one, if you've not been on it, is the Justice League film, which had a cinematic release because Snyder had done it.
Yeah.
Big version, and then Joss Whedon came in, trimmed it down, made a lash up of it, there's no disguising it, and delivered what everyone really hated.
Because that was it, they were pushing for the Snyder cut then, weren't they? That's what everybody was saying.
And that was then released, but it's like 4-hour epic.
Gosh,
but I did watch it, and it's in chapters, so you could watch it in 4 chapters, a bit like a TV show,
That's a
to
good
do one
idea.
night, and I've done that, and it's a completely different film. It's completely,
So
much
that's almost
better.
the way to start with it.
Probably, because you get a bit of everyone, and they're all sort of introduced.
That's what I mean.
And stuff.
So,
So,
I wouldn't be able to tell you what's coming up after The Flash. Aquaman, you said, didn't Aquaman 2?
Aquaman is next. I'm not too sure what they're doing after that. I think that's when they're going to be going more down Gunn's route, and I think he's probably changed the release schedules. I mean, there is talk Aquaman might not even get a release. We don't know at the moment. It's sort of
Really?
It was already supposed to be released, and it's been sort of altered.
Why are they now saying possibly no?
If they're going to go down a different route with Gunn,
Oh, so they literally
because there was
just made a decision now.
Oh, what was it? I think it was a Batgirl film that was actually made.
That was it. And
that was being
pulled,
cancelled.
wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
So whether they're just saying, look,
let's start all
get
over
everything
again.
back together in one place and see how we go and go forward from there.
Yeah, because this Flash is sort of resetting everything because of the timeline.
Oh, okay.
So it's giving it that sort of
there's continuity with it as well. At least it makes sense if they're going to do that. That's a good way of doing it as well.
Yes,
I think.
yeah. This Flashpoint sort of managed to reset and put things else, like take it in whichever route they want to. So
it's interesting. Like, you think it's all happening behind the scenes, isn't it? All of this is going on without any of us knowing what's really happening there.
You do think, how far ahead do they go? It's like Marvel went on and on and on and on to get themselves to the Avengers Endgame, and
big push.
But how far ahead did they plan that? So obviously they start with Iron Man, and like 20 odd films in, they sort of like get to that concluding bit from that whole
I know,
arc.
because they always release that I forget what the convention is or whatever it is, where they release what the phases are going to be,
Comic-Con
and
stuff,
what films are going to come out. And I know that that's already changed. That the one that was previously released, that's already been changed. They've already made changes and things like that to that one. So again, it's almost shooting yourself in the foot letting all this information out there, isn't it? Because you get everybody so hyped up, and dates in the calendar for certain things, and then you get down the line and realise there's been trouble in production or anything like this, delays and all sorts, and then you end up having to move it and push it back. And I know Kevin Feige said obviously about reducing the amount of content going onto the streaming platforms and things like this.
Definitely what they need. We said that before.
They've got the message.
Finally.
They might have now got the message just to bring it back a bit, because it starts to feel like homework.
It does, yeah. It's oversaturation, doesn't it? And you're sort of,
of one way or another.
Yeah.
So that's homework. That's something I don't particularly want to think about. What I do want to think about is this new Take That musical.
Yes, yeah.
Tell me
Greatest
about it.
Days. So that's it. It's like sort of snuck through from nowhere, really. And I saw the trailer up here. It's got Aisling Bea. And
I love Aisling Bea.
Yeah,
she's great.
She's heading up the cast, and so it's her and her 3 friends, and I think they win the competition to go to Greece to see her Take That premiere concert thing over there. But it's also flashbacks to when they were younger and they enjoyed Take That the first time around. So you got a younger cast and the older cast.
That's a good way of doing
it. The two timelines.
With such a discography from Take That, you've got, like I say, there's easily 3 films there.
There's 3
films.
But you've got your 2 timelines to the friends, you've got your location in Greece, and you've got the musical with that. So it's basically like Mamma Mia, but with Take That music.
I mean, Take That in Greece, that's absolutely fine by me.
Yes,
but the question is, will Robbie be making an appearance?
I don't know. I'm not sure how much of the band are involved. Obviously, the music's involved and stuff like that, and I imagine there will be possibly coming to go to their concert. But
because I know at the Coronation previously, they Take That performed at the Jubilee, didn't they? And there was only 3 of them, and I was like, where? Because it was I was always Team Robbie myself.
Oh right, yes.
I'm old school. I'm Team Robbie.
Team Robbie.
I've always liked Robbie.
Yeah.
Gary, not so much. Pay your taxes, Gary. But Robbie, I like Robbie. So again, maybe a cameo. I'd like to think he's got enough of a sense of humour.
I think the Friends again.
Make an
I think they could
like
do.
that.
Yeah, I think they would. If he was approached, he probably would do. Because he loves the fame as well, doesn't he? So he's not going to turn down.
I mean, when you think about the Take That, the catalogue, there's some good sing-along ones in that. I can already imagine audiences literally singing along with these ones.
Yeah, I think it'll be a big hit. I think people will love it.
I was going to say, everybody knows ABBA, everybody knows Take That.
Yes.
So I think going into it, you already know your lines.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I think as an audience,
I'm waiting for your best songs to come out. But I think there is a Take That musical, isn't there, on the stage?
There is, yes.
Yes, I think it's a film version of that. So yeah.
And they were like, look, while we're at it, book holiday to Greece.
Yeah.
And we'll go lovely time.
Where should we go? Ooh,
yeah, exactly.
Look nice in Mamma Mia
in
Greece.
London. No, it's not. It's based in Greece.
Definitely, yes.
Definitely Greece. No, I'm looking for. And again, I think with films like that, very like Mamma Mia, the audience becomes almost a character in itself. When they're watching and almost that involved, it's almost a character in themselves when you're amongst it like that.
Yeah, I tell you what, I was down Truro because the film's in the close, and I went to Truro in the time in between. And Mamma Mia was out when I was down there, and we had this. Quite a few people came back regular, but there's one couple in particular that came back 11 times to watch Mamma Mia that summer.
Wow!
But it was 2008, so we had the credit crunch. There wasn't much money. The weather was a really wet summer. I mean, we get them, but it was a particularly bad one. So you had this film with the music, the location. It was like going on holiday.
Just having a couple hours on holiday.
Yeah. And at the end, you'd have the songs, and the people would be up dancing, and some of the staff would go in, clapping and sort of singing along as well. So it was a real great film. Yeah, the atmosphere was perfect.
That's a really good one. And I said to you previously that there's rumours at the minute of Mamma Mia 3.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough songs, but they could redo some of them anyway, couldn't they, if they needed to?
I think it's there, but I mean, for me, the whole thing was with number 2, I like me some Meryl Streep, and I wanted to see Meryl Streep back.
Yeah.
And Meryl's never done a sequel. If you think about what she's been in, she's actually never done a sequel. And that's just part of what she likes to do and what she doesn't like to do. She doesn't like doing sequels. But then I think, spoiler alert, if you've not watched Mamma Mia 2 yet, when did Mamma Mia 2 come out?
The second one, good question. About 6 years ago.
6 years ago. So, spoiler alert, if you've not watched Mamma Mia 2 from 6 years ago, Meryl Streep's character, unfortunately, has passed away.
Yeah.
And I just think, very abrupt. Like, how are you then going to bring her back for number 3?
Yeah. I suppose they would possibly go flashbacks again.
It might be to Lily James has got another gig out of it, really, hasn't she?
Yes, yeah. So she could maybe go back a little bit to when she's just got married, Sam, and then sort of do the flashback.
Go back again.
From there.
So enough of Mamma Mia 3, which we might not even know exists yet.
No, it's the first I've heard
of it. And what is coming out.
So where do we get to? We've done Greatest Days, Transformers, touched on The Flash. Yes. So might as well get to the
big man
elephant in the room.
I was listening to an interview of him at Cannes Film Festival.
Yes, that's
over the weekend.
Recently,
He's been to Harrison Ford, and somebody, an interviewer said to him, like, basically, you're still very hot at the age of 80. What's your secret? And Harrison Ford's answer was, I'm blessed with this body. Thank you for noticing. And that was it. And I was like, he is still so cool with it.
He is, yeah, very depreciated. He's
definitely
really
the last one now, though, I'm pretty sure, right? For him.
Well, you would have thought so, but we thought the last one was going to be the last one, and the one before that was going to be the last one, because it's so long between Last Crusade and the Crystal Skull that everyone thought, it's going to do it for one last one. And then, I love the first 3. The Crystal Skull wasn't great.
No.
It went down an entirely different route, because normally it's religious artefacts and sort of that bit of supernatural stuff like that. That's all great. And then last time they went down the alien route, and that was sort of you could see it's going down that way. You said, you can still save yourselves, and they didn't, and they just went.
It's not the tone, is it? Like that.
Too much in the end, and
I think again it shows those older films how practical they were. It was all practical effects and all, and you can really see that, and it really comes across in screen that when you say there's aliens, it's just more CGI again.
Yeah.
It's all of this coming in. Whereas I'd like to think Harrison Ford's got his morals about him and does as much practical as he sort of can.
Definitely.
I know he's an 80-year-old man now, and he's probably not doing flips and backflips.
But he's never been like that, was he? He's always been a bit more sort of
I think he's quite cool.
Like roll under a,
yeah, that's it. And
under a thing around his hat.
Somebody was saying that apparently in the second scene, no spoilers too much, but he takes his shirt off even. And I thought, this is an 80-year-old man. Fair women play to him, you know what I mean?
Like, can go for it,
if he's still doing it like that. I think you can tell with Indiana Jones that Harrison Ford still enjoys it.
Yeah.
I think with the Han Solo stuff, he might have run out of steam with it and all, you know.
Yeah, I think probably with the films themselves as well, they sort of...
Yeah. Again, an oversaturation possibly.
Yeah.
Where in Indiana Jones, like you say, there's been enough time between each one that he clearly still loves the role. You know, it's his
definitely.
role.
Like Han Solo was quite limited on what he could do, whereas with this, you've always got different artifacts, different adventures, and different things like that, and always a bit more comedy.
He's the main protagonist in that as well, whereas Han Solo was always sort of tacked on. I know they did the Solo film, didn't they, and things like that, which he wasn't in because it was a prequel. Yeah. But with Indiana Jones, you can really see that his passion's still there with it, which I love to see.
Yes, yeah.
He's still good.
And this, you've got, I mean, like the poster itself, they've got the art form back in it, which I love.
This as a poster again, because I mean,
it's only just come in. I just saw it. It's brilliant.
I got really bored of film posters where it's just all main characters, sort of one in the middle, and then spread around the edge. Whereas this, you get the themes from it, you get the vibes of it. You sort of get a bit of storyline there as well. Yeah. This is more like it. But again, it's like that old school.
Yeah, the art form of it, and just really, they've done it justice. You think, well,
is that Colin? No, it's not Colin, is it?
What, Farrell? No, I'm not sure. I've seen him in the trailer, recognise him, but I'm not sure who he is.
I couldn't tell. Yeah, so it's Dial of Destiny, this one. So like you say, it's another artefact. Yeah. What are they up to? Are they trying to stop the Dial of Destiny? Are they trying to get the Dial of Destiny?
As we can see, there are some Nazi-looking persons within this, but timeline-wise, and I think they must have aged him because they can't go back to 1945 again. So I'm presuming this is a new faction of Nazism that get the Dial of Destiny, and if you've got the Dial of Destiny, it can actually help your luck and stuff like this. So if you've got it, it will help you achieve what you want to achieve.
So you don't want that falling into the wrong hands.
No. So they'll be able to succeed.
Putting together crack team. Usual friends and family. Getting back together.
And we've got Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character, who is his goddaughter. Yes. I believe she manages to get it, but then manages to pass it off to someone else, and then sort of as you go through, I've got to get it back to you.
They're really like, again, that sort of classic fun action adventure, isn't it? Where
a real good old 80s one.
You're transported away into it. You really feel yourself sort of dive into it. Ones like that. You know, it's real escapism.
If you look back to the 80s, that's when they were at the best, weren't they? You had those Back to the Future, Goonies, stuff like that,
and all done practically. So is that something to say based on that? You know, I think it's that realism of it.
Definitely, yes. You do see the difference, and I think like going to the Star Wars ones, the earlier ones were a bit more set piece. You had Tatooine on.
Yes, and
in the deserts and stuff like that.
Absolutely, live action characters and all that sort of thing.
With his prequels that he did, they were, I think, 95% green screen, and you could see,
noticing it. I was going. I hate to hark back to Marvel and things like that, but with Ant-Man, you can see green screen. It's all, it
was,
Well, I think once you engage that in your brain, it's very difficult to then sort of take that away again.
You do want your real elements, don't you? And you see the difference. And the older films that haven't used the green screen or CGI or so much, like things like 90s films now, they don't date as badly, whereas you look back and stuff that does rely heavily on special effects, you think, ooh, that's what ages it. So.
Yeah, I've seen a clip from Shrek the other day, the original Shrek.
Oh yeah.
And I always thought that stood up to time pretty well, until I did see it the other day, and I was like, wow, it has caught up now. I think because you've seen obviously the new Puss in Boots film this year, we've seen how far that studio, as an animation studio, has gone.
Yes,
And then to go back, it almost looked like a test model.
Yeah,
for something.
It does.
It almost looks like a test animation.
Yeah, it's not like the old animations, like you say, your 2D normal drawings, because they would stand the test of time, whatever, because they're like an art form. Yeah. But your computer animations definitely will.
You see the age to it. Yeah. I'll be interesting to see if Disney does any more 2D animation, and in that sense, because I don't know, like the last time they did a 2D animated one.
No.
Probably Princess and the Frog.
Oh yes,
that was
the top one.
Your most recent actual 2D animated one.
Because it's Tangled, but that was more 3D, wasn't it? I suppose. So,
and obviously we've got the remake of the live-action Little Mermaid over the next week or so, and then you're going into, obviously, which was announced a few weeks ago, the live-action Moana, which I think is personally too soon.
I do as well. Yeah, I'm surely better off just doing a sequel, animated sequel. But they have got Dwayne Johnson actually playing Maui as himself again.
But I know the character that voiced Moana herself has said she shan't be coming back.
Okay, she's not
because she thinks it's very important, and rightfully so, that the character goes to somebody of that descent.
Yeah.
So I can understand that, rightfully so. And I think culture's a real part of that film. So it makes sense to sort of respect that culture and you know, put your hands up and go, yeah, we'll do it right. On the flip side of that, I know the Lilo and Stitch live action film, that's also, the casting has been announced for that. And again, I think completely unnecessary.
Yeah. There's a good guy. I didn't know about that. I'm just trying to figure out how it's going to work as a film, because it's great as a cartoon. I don't think it will work as a film.
I don't know if it will translate having this mangy little purple beast
thing.
Yeah.
And they're going to make him too realistic.
This is part of Stitch's marketing, was that he was a cute, fluffy little thing. You know, that's your dolls that you're selling, teddies and things like that. Whereas now it's going to be this drooling, mangy little critter.
Yeah. It gets too realistic, doesn't it?
And again, when it comes to casting, I think you've got to be, Hawaii is such a part of that culture of that film, you've got to be respectful of it.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Massively respectful of it.
Definitely.
So that is one that I'm scared of. I'm genuinely scared to see the product of that one.
Yeah, it's not a good pitch, that one, I don't think. No.
I think they're starting to hit nostalgia in the wrong way.
Yeah.
I think, you know, it's too much for a lot of people. And I think, I was saying to somebody the other week, I was saying, you know, revisit some of the underappreciated films. Revisit,
some that do need doing,
the Treasure Planet, or Atlantis, the Lost Empire, these old Disney 2D ones that sort of went under the radar.
What's that? Oliver and Company as well, because that wasn't a great cartoon, but they could actually get that back on. That would work well.
Put life into those ones that didn't perhaps see the love they should have.
I'll tell you what I did used to like was the Sherlock Holmes one that they did.
Basil the Great Mouse Detective. Yeah, amazing. Really cool.
That would actually work well as a live action, really, because it's quite dark.
Going around, and again more mature themes and things like that. That was and again, loved the villains from those ones, because at the end of the day they were villains. For the sake of it.
Yes, he's just bad, isn't he?
Usually, you know, nowadays it's what sort of trauma have they been through, and you know, why have they become this person and this villain?
Give them a
Sometimes villains are villains, and that's coming from me. You know, and that's all I want sometimes. I don't need to know what they've been through. You know, how they're an orphan, and you know, and all of this sort of thing.
I think you see it a lot in James Bond story arcs, don't you? Because like the original ones were all just bad, weren't they? It was for money and world domination, whereas I suppose they're sort of thinking, no, they need to have a reason now, why?
And I think it's all well and good if it's for them, but it's when it's sort of, you know, trauma based and things, and I get it, that's very real life and these things happen, and it makes people act a certain way, and I get that. However, if I'm there watching 2 hours of something, I don't need to know absolutely everything that's gone on in their life. I just want to see them as they are now, as this bad guy. And I think with those older sort of late 90s Disney's ones, like you say, Basil, Great Mouse Detective, their villains were, it was almost pantomime.
The big rap.
It was almost theatre. And it was, you know, creeping onto screen. It was old school like that, where it was so characterised as a villain, and that's the way to do it, I think. I really do. And that's coming from me, professional villain.
You ought to pitch, they should do a live action Basil the Great Mouse Detective.
They're going to pinch our ideas.
Yeah, they will, definitely.
So we've got Indiana Jones coming up. That's the big one next, really, isn't it?
There's quite a few big ones, but that's one I'm most looking forward to this year. So that one and Mission Impossible, but that's the following month, so we'll talk about that next time.
I was going to say, Mission Impossible is the next big one.
And even The Greatest Days to take that one, because I don't mind the music, I can quite listen to it, I'm not a huge fan, but the actual film itself just looks good fun. And I
think, it's that escapism, isn't it? It's that
location
taken
music
away for 2 hours, listening to Take That in Greece. Who doesn't want that? You can't fly from Yuki for those prices.
No,
come on. We're dealing with it. It's the way to do it. Well, thank you so much for a lovely little chat today.
Yes, anytime.
Always lovely to call in.
Yes,
have a little catch up, see what's going on. Any drama in the world of cinema that we know of?
No, nothing.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
All good. Ticking along.
Yes.
Everyone's behaving. I'm sure.
We think so,
I'm sure. No, thank you so much for having me again.
That's all right.
Lovely to come here for a chat.
We'll see you soon.
We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
If you'd like to find out what's on at your local WTW cinema, please head to wtwcinemas.co.uk.